Hello, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of My Thoughts. We're back here. It hasn't been too long since the last episode, but we're kind of on a roll here, honestly, with My Thoughts. Got a lot of good topics and discussions to kind of come up with and talk about, and this is one of them I've been meaning to do for a while. The movie's been out for a while, and I have watched it since. We're gonna get into it, but it's kind of another adaptation. I know the last My Thoughts episode I did my thoughts on Terrifier 3. Now I'm going to do another My Thoughts on kind of another movie-ish, but I think it also directly relates on the Until Dawn movie. They just recently made it this year, and I have watched it, and I think I find it directly relatable because I have done a direct Let's Play here on the channel for Until Dawn. It's based directly off the game in correlation with the movie, and I think it relates directly. It's very relatable as I did doing Until Dawn Let's Play on the channel here. So, and I'm using some of the gameplay from from the Let's Play itself. So, if you might recognize some of the gameplay, but I figured it would make it even more relatable if I use some of the gameplay here that I used for that Let's Play a couple years ago. I made it, so it was a while ago now, but it was fun, and I figured I'd do why not do a more relatable video, especially since it kind of relates to it. So using directly gameplay from the Let's Play. So we're going to get into it. Of course, I'm going to read a little bit of an article here off Wikipedia, and then I'm going to kind of get into my thoughts of the movie because I have watched it. So I'll be kind of getting into that, kind of doing a general thing here for the article and whatnot. So, Till Dawn is a 2025 American survival horror film directed by David F. Sandberg and written by Gary Doberman and Blair Butler. It is derived from the 2015 video game by PlayStation Studios and is set in the same universe, while featuring an original standalone story that expands upon the game's mythology. It stars Ella Rubin, Michael Cimino, Odessa Azion, Jim Young Yu, and Bel Macameli as a group of friends who end up in a secluded area embedded in a time loop mechanic, kind of like the game. A threat is out to hunt them where dying restarts the night with a new threat each time. The only solution is to survive until morning. Peter Stormare also stars, reprising his role from the game. January 2024, Sony Pictures announced the film's development with Screen Gems and PlayStation Productions. Set to produce, casting announcements were made throughout the 2024, and principal photography took place between August and October 2024 in Budapest. The crew features frequent collaborations of Sandberg, including composer Benjamin Wallfisch, cinematographer Maxim Alexandre, and editor Michael Owler. This is kind of more the technical behind-the-scenes stuff, but I'll read it. Until Dawn was released in the United States by Sony Pictures, releasing on April 25th, 2025. The film has received mixed reviews from critics, but grossed over $52 million worldwide, which is pretty good. The budget was $15 million. Of course, they made $52.8 million, so that's a pretty good kind of get back. But yeah, so it's again, like saying directly based off the 2015 game. And kind of going to the plot here. Clover, her ex-boyfriend Max, and her friends Nina and Megan are attacking the steps of Clover's missing sister, Melanie, I should say. I kind of read it as the wrong way, but the group stops by a gas station from which Melanie had recently sent a message, and Clover meets the station attendant. Hill claims that the people tend to go missing on the road towards a mining town called Galore Valley. The group travels to the town, but heavy rainfall forces them to seek a shelter at a visitor center. However, the rain only affects the surrounding area. In the visitor center, Abe finds a wall filled of posters of missing persons, including Melanie. I keep wanting to say Melanie, but it's kind of how I'm reading it. Sorry if I'm messing up the name. But as night falls, Nina signs into the center's guest book. Exploring downstairs, the group finds another house underneath the center. A masked assailant wielding a pickaxe suddenly attacks and kills everyone. The group awakens on the first night with a new guest book signature and their missing person posters on the board. They realize that the night is repeatedly indicated by an hourglass in the main room. Suddenly the lights go out, revealing a dilapidated house across from the center. Megan is possessed and killed by a supernatural force that drags Clover into the house, where she meets an elderly Galore Valley resident who possesses her, telling her that she can either survive the night or become a part of it. Abe tries to flee with Nina, but they encounter a giant monster outside the center. After turning back, are murdered by the masked assailant. Possessed, Clover kills Max before she gets run over and dies. The night begins anew as the group realizes they are in a time loop, with only 13 deaths before they disappear like the other visitors. They barricade themselves in the bathroom and drink tap water, which causes them to explode, which is kind of strange in my opinion. The group dies, and the Clover perishes, who sees Hill, who revolves his involvement, and urges her to keep moving. Starting the night again, Clover vows to uncover the truth about Hill and Melanie. An argument then arises between the group. Nina, angers by Abe's attempt to abandon them, stabs him with a pickaxe while Clover, Max, and Megan explore the woods. Abe and Nina are murdered by the masked assailant. The three are attacked by Wendigos, resulting in Megan's death. Clover and Max meet Melanie, who has now turned into a Wendigo herself. Heartbroken, Clover tells Max to kill her so they could start the night again and learn more. Max slits her throat and then drinks some of the water that causes him to explode while he curses at Melanie. Looking for answers, the group discovers that Glore Valley sank into the ground after a mining disaster, killing hundreds, and the Hill was brought into an act as a therapist for the survivors. They found a VHS tape showing that those trapped at the center turned into Wendigos after being killed on the 13th night. The group attempts to find Hill and go through several nights of repeatedly being murdered by various creatures. A flashback shows Melanie leaving Clover after their monster's death. A following argument which still haunts Clover. She awakens on the 13th night, where the group's bodies start deteriorating into Wendigos. Megan is also missing, and the group discovers that she survived a night and has followed Hill into a set of tunnels. Ready to confront Hill, the group follows Megan's trail, fending off the Wendigos. The masked assailant ambushes them. Clover splits from the others to track down Hill. After confrontation with Melanie, where Clover is forced to kill her sister, she finds herself in a sanatorium where Megan is trapped in a room with a Wendigo. Clover confronts Hill, who reveals he is running experiments, and creatures face as a part manifestations of Clover's depression and fears. Hill places his coffee on the desk, and Clover moves it under the dripping lethal tap water. He explodes after ingesting it. She retrieves the keys and frees Megan. The others manage to kill the masked assailant, and the group flees through the tunnels pursued by Wendigos. They escape the tunnels, and an hourglass runs out just as the sun rises. Now free from the time loop, the group drives away from the center. Meanwhile, a surveillance system at Hill's office changes to a snowy cabin where a car pulls up and Hill's whistling can be heard. So that was kind of the ending and a rough copy of kind of the plot itself, kind of based off the game. And then production, kind of going to go into the extra stuff on Wikipedia. In January 2024, it was announced that a live-action adaptation based on the game Until Dawn was developed at Screen Gems and PlayStation Productions, with David F. Sandberg directing but Gary Doberman writing the screenplay based on the previous draft by Blair Butler. It was described as an R-rated love letter to the horror genre with an ensemble cast. Of course, it was leaked on April 25th, 2025, so just a couple months earlier than when you're seeing this video now. Let's see here, just kind of scrolling through different stuff here. And it's a very interesting film. I personally enjoyed it. I'll be getting into more of that towards the end of the video on my actual thoughts on it because I have watched it. It's a very interesting film. I think it especially did the game justice. And I think it really is interesting, the supernatural way of kind of how it works and stuff like that. So as a person who played the game, of course, as you see on the Let's Play here, I think it's very appropriate to kind of how the game, I think the movie kind of does justice on how the game was set up, is what I'm trying to say. So as of May 29th, 2025, Until Dawn has grossed $20.2 million in the United States and Canada, $31.3 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of course, $51 million. And then kind of go into the critical response here from the audience. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 52% of the 103 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 55.510 or out of 10. The website consensus reads, Till Dawn is a novel promise rewinding the clock for repeatedly to deliver multiple horror movies in one. But a lack of inspiration and new each variation yields a spoil of diminishing returns rather than riches. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film score of 47 out of 100 based on 23 critics including or indicated mixed or average reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of C+, or an A+, to F scale, while those surveyed to ProStrack gave it a 63% overall positive score, with 42% saying they would definitely recommend the film. So that's just kind of statistical here. That's just kind of how, the statistics and stuff like that of the film. And that's more or less, amongst some extra things, that's more or less the article here on Wikipedia. But I personally really enjoyed the film. Kind of going into more of my thoughts here. I personally really enjoyed the film. I think it did the justice of the actual game itself. Kind of like a live action adaptation, as I was kind of saying. And the fact that Sony was directly involved, because of course they're the one who also helped make the game itself. So the fact that Sony was directly involved in making it and helping make the movie itself, I think that helped it do more justice, just because the actual game studio that made, of course, the game itself. I think that all very much helps in telling the story and doing it justice. So it was a fine movie. I really enjoyed it. I don't really have too much critical things on it. I think it was good casting and good moments in the movie, especially. I really like the supernatural part, and I know that also kind of goes hand in hand with the game, but I like the more supernatural and kind of spooky-ish things that it kind of goes into, and different kind of things that the movie really delves into, kind of like I was describing in the article there and whatnot. But I really enjoyed the supernatural party of it, and that was good to see. I think they did that really well. Overall, a very great film. Of course, everybody's gonna have their little critical things of it. Everybody's gonna have a critique, but I think it was overall a very good film and adapts the game very well. And overall, that is my final thoughts on it. That's kind of where I'm gonna wrap it up. But it wasn't the longest my thoughts episode, but this has been one I've been meaning to do for a while since I heard about the film, and I did watch it, and since it came out. I know it hasn't been that long since it did come out, but I've been wanting to do this my thoughts for a while, but I've been kind of putting it off more or less. But here it is finally. I did definitely want to make it, especially like I was saying, because it does directly. I found it directly relatable because I did an Until Dawn Let's Play. And if you haven't watched that, it's a great game. Be sure to go watch the Let's Play I did over there. It's all organized in a playlist. So it's very fun. It was a very fun time. Of course, like I was saying, a couple years ago now, but it's definitely worth watching. I think if you're interested to see more of my commentary on the game itself. It's a fine film, and I think you guys would enjoy it. I would highly recommend it if you haven't watched it. If you enjoyed the game like I did, and also I would highly recommend watching the film. So I think it would do good for you guys to watch it. So I recommend it, and yeah, so again, kind of a shorter My Thoughts episode, but we'll be having a lot more come out soon. We got a lot more topics I want to talk about. This is definitely one of them, like I was saying, I had out there for a while. But yeah, and if you have watched the film, leave a comment down below, and if you liked it or whatever your thoughts on it, leave all that good stuff down below. If you do plan to watch the film, whatever it is it may be, let me know whatever it is you're planning to watch. Whatever it is, leave a comment down below. I like to see all the discussions, whatever you think of it. The usual stuff. And yeah, with all that being said, make sure to subscribe for more content. Link you all good stuff. Discord, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. Links in the description. I got big stuff coming. And yeah, with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.